What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I appreciate you joining us today on the podcast. If it's your first time joining us here, welcome. And make sure you subscribe. That way you know exactly when we drop a new podcast on our network. So if you're following us on Instagram, and Twitter, and if you're not following us on Instagram and Twitter, I don't know why. It's free. All our links will be in the pinned comment below where you can go and follow us everywhere that we're speaking. So I did a post on Instagram about the new hate crime statistics that were released. I follow these because I like to look at those particular numbers to know exactly what's going on in the country that we live in. Now, let's rewind for a minute back to right after Joe Biden was elected president. When Trump was about to be on his way out, something started to happen because this is what they decided to do. Remember the insurrection that happened January the 6th, the attempted coup against the United States. That wasn't a good look for white supremacy. So white supremacy, left-wing white supremacy, right-wing white supremacy got on code. And they say we got to change the subject. Now, part of the white supremacist tactics is changing the subject, is not wanting to address what they do, but let's focus on something. Let's even create a narrative. So right after January the 6th, and the interesting part is it wasn't even really the right wing that started this. It was the left wing of white supremacy and their media like CNN, MSNBC, etc. So all of a sudden, remember CNN start running, talking about, oh my God, Asians are being attacked. And people was like, in the black community, huh? Like, what are you talking about? I don't really see Asians unless you go to their stores, if you go to their nail shops. Maybe you see them here and there in public, but you don't really see Asians like talking about you have a big interaction with them unless they're in a black neighborhood. So they kept showing people with Asians, these homeless people in New York. And we noticed the stories kept coming out of New York and California. We didn't see a bunch of stories come out of anywhere else, just those two places, liberal places. And we started noticing a few things. We started noticing that every time one of these attacks happen, the guy is wearing a pink shirt, a pink hoodie, some sort of pink. Y'all remember that? Sometimes they wear red. And we all started putting two and two together, and we was like, you know what? I really think this is a setup, because they want to make sure to identify who they are, so they wearing certain clothing. Y'all remember that? Then we noticed that it was a lot of, they'll say, oh, black Americans, then find out these were immigrants that was homeless, that was doing all these quote unquote attacks. Do you remember ABC News? Juju Chang had a report talking about all black people attacking Asians, and they had the Mzungu get on there and say, my message to black Americans is stop attacking Asians. You remember that? Let's fast forward after those months of propaganda to the COVID-19 hate crime bill, and featuring Asians as the main group while they did the bill. After that result, Jim Crow Joe Biden gave the Asian community $50 million, and that was never contested. And they got a federal protection that black folks don't have. Now, you would think, based off of why the government moved so fast, and it was bipartisan on this bill. All your Congressional Black Caucus members voted for this bill. All of them. The Democrats and Republicans both agreed with this bill. So you would think that, okay, it must be an astronomical amount of hate crimes happening for them to move this fast. And let's scroll down real quick so we can go on and get into this. Now, as you can see, this is straight from the FBI. Okay, I want you to know this. So as we go down here, okay. So 2020 hate crimes, as you can see here, hate crimes. Look at right here, anti-black hate crimes, or African American, 2,755. Now, why is it that black people are in the lead on that as victims of hate crimes? Look at anti-Asian, 274. Let that sink in for a minute. 274. All the propaganda that was waged against black Americans, all the hatred being directed toward black Americans, and then a lot of us weren't even involving ourselves with that. We'll get to who the main perpetrators of hate crimes are in this country. We'll get to that. Out of all of that, they got a whole hate crime bill off of 274 hate crimes. But the people that lead every year as victims of hate crimes, they can't get a bill. Let me look at the black number once again. 274 to 2,755. Matter of fact, we couldn't even get added to the bill. We have a whole Congressional Black Caucus that don't fight for black people. They all voted for the COVID-19 hate crime bill, the one that was featuring Asians, right? They didn't say, no, it needs to be a black and Asian bill. Now, do you realize that anytime it's something for black people, it can't be just for black people? They have to say black and Hispanic, black and Asian, black and people of color. Do you notice that? But when it's something for Asians, that's cool. When it's something for Hispanics, that's cool. When it's something for Arabs and Native Americans, that's cool. But anytime it's something for black people, recently, in the coronavirus bill, they had set aside a certain amount of money for black farmers, okay? Which black farmers only represent about 100,000 in this country. Now, at the turn of the century, the previous century, we had about 1 million black farmers, and they dwindled them all down to about 100,000. So that's not going to be a whole lot of money going that way. What ended up happening to those black farmers and the money? White folks sued. They said it was discrimination why they can receive money and white folks can't. What ended up happening, ladies and gentlemen? A federal judge stopped the payments to the black farmers. So why isn't white folks suing the Biden administration for giving Asians $50 million? I mean, it's discrimination, according to what y'all say. Where's the federal judge to stop that from happening? Oh, you're not going to do that. Let me tell y'all something. When I tell you that it is black people versus everybody, when I tell you that they hate us, I'm not saying it to sound militant. I'm not saying it to get you to like me no, I'm not saying it for that reason. I'm saying it because the numbers, if you look at numbers, you look at patterns, all of it backs up that they have a hatred for us. And then when I have silly black people in my community, when I put something out as of recent, I was talking about, Texas have the new abortion law. And I'll say, well, the main reason they decided to do that because they looked at the numbers and they see Becky as the leader of aborting white children. I had a Negro gonna send me a message talking about that's not true. Black women are 5 times more likely to abort their children. I'm like, you idiot. Show me the raw numbers because I've seen them. Black women do not abort their children like the white woman do. And no, first of all, it ain't enough black women. It's way more white women here than it's black women. But y'all are so fooled because you trust that freaking Mzungu that anything he tells you, he used the terms disproportionate, 5 times, percentages, per capita. The way you stop that and say, I don't want to hear that. Give me the raw numbers. Let me see the raw quantified numbers. You understand? Let me see that. Because once you look at the raw numbers, it's going to give you everything that you need to know. Don't go with anybody telling you 5 times a percentage per capita, none of that. Give me the raw numbers. I will look at them myself. And I looked at them. And I will tell you, black women aren't the leaders of aborting their children. And if black women were the leaders of aborting their children, they wouldn't have had no Texas abortion law now. They don't care what black women do. Shoot, they celebrate that. But no, they know that their numbers are in the toilet. And they know Becky is part of the reason. So they trying to put a stop to it. But if we go back and look at this hate crime numbers here, why are we in this position? Let's talk about the people that's a part of it. Because it's not just the politicians. It's a lot of black people who vote in this country too. They're part of the problem. And why we don't have nothing. So let's go back to the Asians for a minute. When they wanted to use them to scapegoat, that's what they did. They used them to scapegoat January the 6th and try to take that attention off of their own. The Asian community looked at this and said, wait a minute. Shoot, this is a way we can get ahead. Understand what I'm saying? We don't care about the black community like that. Shoot, we need to get in where we fit in. We'll step on their backs. We'll sit up here and go along with the white supremacists against them. Even though we got our businesses in black neighborhoods, even though, we wouldn't be where we at today if it wouldn't be for the financial support of black people. But, don't matter about that. We got to get ahead. So their politicians got together and created the bill. They wasn't arguing about you're not my people. They wasn't saying, well, you Chinese, you Japanese, I'm Vietnamese. That's a South Korean over there. Man, y'all not my people. They understand in this country, it's race that rules the land in America. Leave this country, and whatever country you go to, you got to deal with whatever rules that country, etc. They understood that your nationality does not matter. Your race matters. Your race is your team. That's what it is. So notice you didn't have Asians come out saying, wait, who's the victim? Oh, shoot, man, he ain't my people. I ain't worried about that. No, only silly black people do that. Only silly black people will sit up here and continue a tribalism. But yet we live in a country that's based on race first. Not your where you from, not your ethnic group or tribe, not what language you speak. No, it doesn't mean all that. You think those other people, like some of y'all that come over here, y'all waving your flags and all that, but you notice them people, when they get in here, they're not waving their flags to the point where they're hurting the whole Asian community here, because they understand we're all Asian. Not our nationality, we're Asian first. Why is it that the Asian community understood that, but the black community can't understand that? Now, there's a portion of us that understand it very well, but the majority of us, no. Not only we don't understand it, we don't want to understand it. So when you have the Asian community on code with each other, when you have the Asian Caucus on code with each other, look at the black caucus. You either have black faces representing left-wing white supremacy and following everything they want to do in their interpretation what should happen to black people. Then in the midst of that, you got those who are Caribbean, and they got a group called CARICOM, right? They separating themselves from other black people. Some of them come in this country and they're told not to interact with black Americans, don't date or marry black Americans, any of that. Asians don't have those issues and problems. They really don't. They all get together, but we separating on stupidity like that. You're not my people. Your tribalism. Your tribalism, and like I said, the tribalism isn't coming from black Americans. Let me make sure I say that, because some people say no, that's not true, Phil, because black Americans are saying that now. They're being tribal. No. Y'all brought that here from the continent of Africa and from the Caribbean. Y'all brought that mess here. We have never been in a position to be tribal because we have been in the thick of this since day one as a people. So if black Americans have picked up any tribalism, it comes from my brothers and sisters from the African continent and the Caribbean. Y'all brought that here. Y'all constantly use your tribalism and say, you're not us. Y'all, you're not like us. We this and we that. Oh, those black Americans this, those black Americans that. And then when you look in the mirror, we all look the same. We all black. So don't get mad now because y'all brought it here. We all black when it's time that when black Americans are asserting themselves and saying we need to do certain things. Oh, brother, come on now. We all black. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Continuing. The Asian politicians fought and they end up getting the bill. The white supremacists on the left and right, you look at them as very useful people for what they need to do in the future. They got on, they all voted for the bill. It wasn't, you know, like you talk about all bipartisan, it's hard to get things done. It wasn't hard to get that bill done. If we had a real Congressional Black Caucus, they would have voted against the bill. Now, let me tell you why. They would have voted against the bill because they say, wait a minute, we need to make sure black people's a part of this bill too. And if they would say, no, we can't do that. Okay, fine. Then we're not, all of us going to vote no on this bill, all of us. Then we're going to come out as a collective and say this bill is a racist bill because it excludes black Americans. Because as you can clearly see on the screen here, the people that suffered the most hate crimes in the year 2020 was black Americans. So, but based on those numbers alone, we need to be part of that bill. And if they still would have said no, then you come out and stir up, you talk to your community and say, listen, these people are being racist towards you and us. We need that bill. And we would have been behind the Congressional Black Caucus every step of the way. But no, the Congressional Black Caucus isn't following what the black community needs. It's following what they need personally. And it's following what, you know, the white man in the left wing says to do. Because they're not fighting for us and what we actually need. You know, talking about, well, you know, we need money for HBCUs. Let me tell you something. Only so many people going to go to HBCUs. Only so many. And I like the HBCUs. I believe they should be supported. But realistically, it's more of us out here that need more help. You got Cori Bush talking about the Texas abortion law. Man, that's the last thing that black people need to be thinking about is that. Why aren't you talking about that George Floyd Accountability and Policing Act? Why aren't you talking about the anti-lynching bill? Notice the Democrats not even talking about even HR 40. They're not even mentioning that anymore. And this is upsetting. Now let me get to, it's not just the politicians. Now it's a lot of you too, or maybe not you, it's a lot of your family. You participate in selling us out all the time by how you go run out and vote. When Charlemagne the God was asking Joe Biden, he said he had questions about what you going to do for black people. He cut him off and said, look, I've been doing things for the black community a long time. You know, I voted on the Civil Rights Act. Now, let me talk about that. Do you realize that even after the civil rights movement, black people never got permanent civil rights or permanent voting rights? Do you realize that every 25 years, they have to come back and vote on it to see if they're going to give you another 25-year extension? What does that mean? Your civil rights is on lease. I'm going to repeat that again. Your civil rights and your voting rights is on lease. So if they don't want to renew that bill, if they don't want to, guess what happens? Your behind is right back in Jim Crow. Do you realize that? But no, they're not. Your black politicians is not going to tell you that your civil rights is on lease. So we've been cool with having our civil rights not even solidified in this country. We don't have permanent civil rights. So Joe Biden basically was saying that, listen, I voted to lease out your civil rights another 25 years. I mean, come on. You know what I'm saying? I'm the one that do all this for the black community. I'm supported by the NAACP. He started calling out names. And then he wrapped all it up and said, if you don't vote for me, you not black. Why would Joe Biden say that to you? He didn't say if you don't vote for me, you're not Hispanic or white or Asian. He only said it to you. You know why he said it to you? Because he know the two things that the majority of you enshrine in your life and in your household is white Jesus and Democrat. The reason why I say white Jesus is because even though scriptures prove Jesus was not white, because you have a white Jesus in your mind and in your heart, when you see white people talk to you, in a way you look at it as God talking to you. When you see white people in authority, you thinking, I kind of need to follow what white people say because, you know, they kind of look like the Jesus that I worship. So this is why you forgive him for no matter what he does to you. We talking about the white supremacy. You forgive him. You love him. You love him. You love him more than you love black people. That's proven every day that you love him. So when your God talks to you and say, if you don't vote for me, you're not black, that gets y'all in line. Then the official party of your white Jesus is Democrat. So for you, it is a spiritual thing with you. It is. And because it's a spiritual thing with you, this is why you don't demand anything. Because you're just happy to be acknowledged by your God. And acknowledgement by God is good enough. And those black people, those black grassroots people, those people that sounding too radical, those people that sounding too militant, they are against God. And we don't like them either. So we got to make sure to stand in the way of those black people who's actually wanting something, demanding something of their vote, wanting to get some headway. We must stand against those black people to protect our God, because we can't allow them to bother our God. Oh, don't tell me that's not how the majority of you think. I'm wording it exactly how you move. This is why you go vote in line. Listen, Boulay Martin was crying in a car. Look at all this. Look, y'all, look at this. Look at this. Oh my God. Crying. Because you're gonna get your white liberal God back in office. Y'all was standing up there, your ankle hurting, feet hurting. Now I know you're gonna say, well, we just had to get Trump out because you view Trump as a devil. I know. But then he got in there. He told you that he would have your back. And you know he said it. This is why a lot of you quiet right now. Because he ain't done crap for you. Oh, yeah, man, he signed Juneteenth. And to some of you, that's good enough. They gave you Hip Hop Appreciation Day. Hey, to some of y'all, that's good enough. Because as long as you're acknowledged by God, as long as you're just acknowledged, then God don't have to do nothing for you. Now, other groups who don't look at them as God understand they're just politicians and they need to get what they need to get out of them, or they're not going to have their support. This is why they do something for other people and don't do nothing for you. And 2/3 of you sell us out all the time, politically. Then when you're being called on the carpet about it, you say these words. What do you want me to do? You tell me, who should we vote for then? Now remember, they look at them as God. So they're so used to God telling them what to think, how to move, how to vote. So when you bring to them the truth, brothers and sisters, and they know you're not wrong, they respond that way because, and they respond that way a lot of times with you angrily, because you literally shifted and mess with their whole paradigm in the way they think and the way they move. So then you tell them you don't have to vote for anybody if you want to, or vote for the other side. If to show and prove to the Democrats that they don't have your vote. You can do that. Oh no. I can't do that. Oh no. Phil, no. My ancestors, Phil, died to vote. This is how asinine their thought process is. They didn't go out there and deal with all they dealt with to vote. I mean, shoot, even your boy, John Lewis, he didn't march across that Edmunds Pettus Bridge and got his butt beat to vote. They did it for civil rights, not voting. Voting is a part of it, but that's not the whole thing. Black folks couldn't get a job. Black folks were dealing with the Klan attacking them every day. See, black folks today don't deal with the Klan attacking you every day. Yeah, you may say the Klan attacks you through the police, but I'm talking about straight up attacks, burning crosses, pulling you out your house, your husband out the house and lynching him on the front lawn, shooting up your house. We don't firebomb in houses, firebomb in churches. You don't deal with any of that today. None of us do. So they fought to stop all that. They fought to stop terrorism. But that's what it was. It was domestic terrorism. What's the point of voting if you got domestic terrorism happening every day? You may not live long enough to vote. But they disrespect our ancestors and reduce everything they fought and died for to voting. Because why? Because their white liberal, gods told them that that's what black people died for, is just to vote. On top of that, you wonder why the Congressional Black Caucus is the way it is? Because the majority of them vote for these people that you see now, the Clyburns that's in there, Sheila Jackson Lee, Al Green, you just name them. I went to an event where my cousin actually was running for office. And I was telling them about, my cousin and what she could do and what she's going to do for black people. You know what one of them told me? And I kid you not. Well, we know Al. And, we've been voting for Al for a long time. And then I fired back off and I said, okay, what has Al done for the black community? Can you name it? The dude got quiet, didn't know what to say. And then he responds, well, he did a lot. What did he do? He still couldn't answer. This is the caliber of black people who's voting in our community. Now you see politically why we in this mess? Now fast forward to what we're looking at here. This is why we don't get nowhere. With politicians in the black community and the majority of black folks who has this, white liberal Jesus and Democrat as their religion and spirituality, we will always collectively stay losing. As individuals, oh yeah, you'll be a winner all day as an individual. But even after you are a winner as an individual, collectively, we're all losers. Collectively, we're losing. We have a small group of people who's fighting hard to try to keep up and maintain the community. We have a small group of people that's literally keeping us out of being back in slavery right here. The black media is fighting hard every day to try to keep you out of slavery. Because the majority, the 2/3 that we talk about, you think when I talk about the 2/3, I'm just trying to say something to, whatever. No. I'm saying it because I know 2/3 of us, even globally, is not going to make it. I know 2/3 of us globally are no earthly good to America, to the Caribbean, to the continent of Africa, to Latin America, because we're there too. We're just no earthly good because we're just too far gone. And that is a harsh reality, but you have to understand, because of the people I described earlier, they want to protect their God. They're the main ones to stand against us. They want to demand something for our vote. We want progress. You understand? These people will continue to keep doing things to us because we collectively allow it. Now, let me tell you something else. The people from Afghanistan that showed up, give them 5 to 10 years, they'll be above you too. You know why? Because it's the way the system was set up for other groups to get ahead of you, and you allow it. You allow it. Yes, you allow it. You don't hold none of your politicians accountable. You don't tell them do what we say do or you're gone the next election. You don't do that. And them Afghanistan people gonna come here as refugees, and they're gonna be having better houses, better cars, and living in better situations. And then they're gonna turn around and say to a lot of you, "Well, I came here from Afghanistan, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, with nothing but just the clothes on my back, and now I got 5 homes. I'm a business owner. I got careers. I drive nice cars. How is it that you black people been here forever, but I came here as a refugee and I got more than you?" Then you'll get mad. You want to talk about them. You want to say that, well, they wouldn't have been able to come in this country. It wouldn't have been for us, which is the truth. And the government helped you and X, Y, Z, which a lot of that be true too. But the reason why they'll tell you that is because you'll still be in the same condition, because you don't want to get out of it, because you're just cool with just attention from God. You're cool with a pat on the head from God. It don't matter how much you lose. This is why these things keep happening to black folks. This is why they can run a propaganda and get Asians a whole hate crime bill and literally skip over black folks. You think they don't know these numbers? You think they don't know them? You think they don't know? Let's see if we can get the same number for you. 2019, okay? Black people were the leaders of hate crime victims, okay? You don't believe me? Let's go to 2018. Black people, the leaders of hate crime victims. 2017. Black people, the leaders. Let's go to 2016. We're going to keep playing this. 2016, we the leader. 2015, we the leader. 2014. 2013. You want me to keep going? 2012. 2011. 2010. 2009, 2008, that's the year Obama got elected. And do you see how high that number was with the hate crimes when Obama got elected? The same year. Now let's see what it was when Trump got elected. It was actually lower the year Trump got elected. So what I'm telling y'all is this. You looking at data here. Okay, you looking at data. 2020 was a horrible year for black Americans in the area of hate crimes. And yet your politicians did nothing about it. And a lot of you don't demand they do nothing about it. They talking about everybody's issues but yours. They talking about the border. They talking about this. They talking about that. Everything but what's happening to you. Do you get why I get frustrated? I was talking to Sister Demetria the other day, and Sister Demetria said, Brother Phil, sometimes I just lose hope in us. And I feel the same way a lot of times as Sister Demetria, because we have the ability to do what's right. We have the ability to fund our own selves. We don't even need their money. We can fund our own selves. We have the ability to create institutions. We're smart people. One thing I know we're not is dumb. We're not dumb. We may make silly moves, but we're not dumb. Look at, for example, Tariq Nasheed has raised over $1 million for his Hidden History Museum. Just 10,000 people helped raise that amount of money. 10,000. He didn't have to go through white folks. The people did. Now, if 10,000 people can help raise that much money, and I also donated to it too. Okay? Because I'm a firm believer of education. I'm a firm believer we do need to know our history, and it do needs to be preserved. So anybody that's trying to really do something like that, I can get behind, I will. But see, with a lot of people, we don't really think like that. And understand, the majority didn't support that, because the majority was, those who, and even some immigrants, was attacking Tariq. Well, and not just them, even why we need a museum for y'all should just bought some land and you could have did. I saw the videos, y'all attacking Tariq. I saw it. But if we need all that, why are you not doing it? Brother or sister, why you aren't doing it? You want to lean on everybody else to do something for you instead of you doing it. We will never get anywhere as a people in this condition. We're literally being killed out here and harmed out here. You got the data to prove it, okay? And we're focusing on things, or allowing the people to focus on things that we should not even be focusing on. So really, now. So what are you going to do, your black politicians? If somebody tell me, okay, Phil, you have all the influence over Black America. Whatever you say, Phil, they're going to do. Oh, our condition to be done in 30 days. We'll be completely free, probably between 30 to 45 days. If everybody do exactly what I say do, it would. But unfortunately. And now, yes, I'm using the word unfortunate because some people don't have a mind to think, and yet they make decisions. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Because if it was me and they'll say, okay, whatever you say politically, we'll do it. First thing I would say is, okay, let's get the names of all the Congressional Black Caucus. Let's go to the cities. Let's find out who the thorough brothers and sisters are. And we're going to run them as our politicians. All of them. And every vote going to go to them. If nobody's splitting the vote off nowhere else, it's only going to them. We're going to primary the old raccoons in the Congressional Black Caucus, and all of us is voting for this particular person as our representatives. And then those representatives will already have the marching orders because they're coming from the grassroots to fight for the community. And then watch how things would change. Same thing on a local level. We'll pick politicians to run for city council, school board, pick a good brother or sister to run for sheriff, DA, judges, and we're going to vote all our votes behind them. We're going to support their campaigns financially. We're going to create we're going to use government for them to earmark money for us to help build out institutions. You understand what I'm saying? On top of funding some of these institutions ourselves. The simple things like that politically we can do. But, if your white liberal God tell you to do something, I mean, isn't that kind of racist to want to just have everybody black vote for the black politician? That's all God got to tell you, and you'll break off from the plan real quick. Oh, no. We're not being racist. We just think, you're going to explain, you're going to tell them about it. You understand? That's why we can't get nowhere. Another example. When everybody talking about the bank black movement. Hey, that's just join the black bank, which we are definitely a part of a black bank. I had black people in the comment section responding to them folks. When they say, well, don't you think it's kind of racist to only want to put your bank with black banks? I had black folks say, no, it's not. We just want to support the banks in our community. We're not thinking, why do you need to give them an explanation? But God talking to you. That's why. So that's why you give an explanation, because God's saying it. If use a real black man and woman, you'll say, piss off, Brad. You don't come in here try to colonize our conversation, and you're sure not colonizing my money. I put my money where I want to put my money. Get the hell on. But you don't want to respond to God like that. So, to wrap this up, black Americans were propagandized with the Stop Asian Hate. They were propagandized. They were lied on. And we also proved that black people has been the leader of being victims of hate crimes. And let's look at the type of hate crimes. This was the leader right here, offender race. Of course, the most hate crimes, who the offenders are them folks. When they say black or African American, I would like them to break up. Is it a black American or is it a black immigrant? Because we were seeing a lot of these hate crimes immigrants are doing, but they throw them in the black number because race is first. So you see it there, right? Now let's look at. Let me see who's the leader here. Them folks. Let's see who was the leader in 2018. Those folks. 2017. As you keep basically what we're saying here, you look at 2,759 in 2016. Every year, 2015, the folks again, 2662. So that tells you they're the leaders of committing acts of hate crimes against people, and black people are the leaders when it comes to being victims of hate crimes. So when you have those sorry bootlicking raccoons that says we're not victims, you could say, according to the FBI, we are. We are. I'm not oppressed. According to the FBI, you are. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to let you know this, give you this information so you know what to do and how to approach your politicians and how to approach members in your family. Because we got some bootlicks in our family. A lot of us do, including me. Bootlicks and raccoons. But we will stay perpetual losing if we don't change this real quick.